Hello and welcome back to the Medeek Wall plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson and today's episode is titled Beams and Columns. Today we'll be quickly describing how you can use the plugin to create in-wall columns and beams. So I'm going to jump right into this. First of all, we're just going to go ahead and create 4 walls that we can throw some beams onto. So let's just go ahead and do that. And you'll notice that I have turned off the cladding, sheathing, and gypsum layers. That doesn't mean they're not there, it just means that they're not shown. And you'll also notice that I'm selecting the outer corners, not there, but here, to complete the wall corner. And that is one of the key features of the wall plugin. So let's just go ahead and show you that, yeah, all those layers are being created. Let's go ahead and just throw a couple doors in here. A garage door to start with. Let's just throw it right in the center. And let's go ahead and just throw a man door in the back somewhere. Let's see about there. Just for some architectural interest. And let's turn off this cladding and sheathing layers. And I like to do that actually when I'm working with the innards of the wall, of course, so I can see what's going on. So let's start now with this module. So this is the beam and columns toolbar, and I'm going to put it right back where it was. And the first icon I'm going to use is the draw columns, and this is only for in-wall columns. It's not for freestanding columns. So you click that, and as you can see, you can have various column sizes, and there's quite a number here, and I can add more, of course. And the metric templates will bring up metric sizes. You'll notice now that the column height is full, and when it says full instead of a number, that means that it will just basically take and draw the column inside the wall at the same height as the studs. So let's just go ahead and do that. Leave the defaults as they are. Hit OK, and you just select your wall by mousing over it, and then position where you want to be. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here on this wall. Okay, so now we've got 2 columns there. Hit the space bar, jumps me out. Let's do that one more time. And now we've got, let's see, we've got 10-foot walls. I want to put some columns that are actually 9 feet in height. Now we'll select the same wall. Now watch what happens here. This gets interesting. You'll notice that it created a beam pocket. Dropped the column below the top plate and chopped out the top plates, and also inserted 2 king studs on each side of that column. Okay, we'll do the same thing here. Alright, so you can see that when you drop the height below the top plate of the wall, that it will automatically create these beam pockets. If you need to edit these columns, click here, click your mouse over your column you want to edit, and you can see you can adjust any of these items. You can put more king studs on each side. Let's go ahead and put 2, for instance, just to show you. You can actually vertically offset it down past the bottom plate if you like. So anyways, that is columns in a nutshell. So let's start now into beams. I like to typically draw my columns first and then my beams, but you know, there's no hard and fast rule here. You can do either one first or before the other if you like. The beams now are this icon for drawing them, and editing is this icon. So let's go ahead and click this, and now you can see that we have our beam draw menu shown up, and it's an HDMI menu. You have the option right now of 5 different types of beams. We'll just go with a regular sawn lumber, or no, saw timber. Let's go with a 6x12 beam. Whenever you change anything, you want to hit update first and then start drawing. And you don't have to close this menu out, leave the menu open, and then you can continue to draw. So what I'm doing now is I'm picking the bottom center where I want that beam to be. And you can see that it dropped it right there. Okay, and then let's do the same thing over here. And now this time though, let's go ahead and put a glue lam in there. Let's say 5.5 by let's just do a 9-inch, a small beam. Hit update and go ahead and pick those points. Okay, and let's hit close. So a couple things to note. First of all, I have the all the framing. If you go here into the global settings, you can see right here on the general tab, you can see the framing callouts are turned on. Actually, all the callouts are turned on, but the framing callouts are the more detailed callouts that give you, you know, in the smaller text, this sort of information. And this is a header callout, of course. And same thing goes over here. If you turn off those header callouts or those framing callouts, this will go away and this will go away. But this will remain. This is part of the main beam callout. Okay, just like the walls, if you go here looking at the layers, the dimension 3 layer is where the labels are being inserted. So I can turn off the labels for the walls and the beams at the same time. Dimension 2 will turn off the framing callout layer, or framing callouts. Actually, I guess we're putting both those on there. That's fine. So if you don't want to show those. So let's talk about the callouts themselves. The first thing you notice is the size and type of the beam is shown in this large line. Here we have a glulam beam with a size 5.5 by 9 inches. The second line will give you the overall length of the beam and the height of the beam from the floor level. And you notice that when we started this model on the XY plane, so our floor is right there at 0, 0. But you don't have to do that. So if, for instance, we were 2 feet off the the XY plane, and we wanted to define our floor level for this beam, we can do that. And if you go here, and you'll see what we have is the beam Z-floor parameter. Okay, and the reason why there's this parameter is because the beams really don't know, which wall they're attached to or what they're attached to. They could be attached to anything, so they really don't know where their floor height is, or where their floor is. Their reference floor, I guess, is the right word. And it could be anywhere, right? So basically, we have that ability to set that Z-floor hard parameter so that this callout will show the correct height above the subfloor or grade. And the interesting thing is okay, so let's say we move this beam up for whatever reason, and I'm just going to kick it up 24 inches. Okay. Now you'll notice that this height has not changed, but if we go like this and we hit regen beam, right click on the beam and hit regen beam assembly, okay, and you'll notice now that instead of showing 9, it shows 11 feet above the grade, and the grade of course was set. And if you edit the edit the beam, you'll see that the beam Z-floor is set at 0 inches. Now if we change that, like let's say to 12 inches, so it's a foot off, hit update. Okay, and now you'll notice the height is saying instead of 11 feet, it's 12 inches off the floor. So we're obviously making the assumption that the Z-floor is 12 inches above R00, which is what this slab is at. Alright, so let's just go ahead and set that back to 0, no big deal. And right, so we can always move and change our beams. So we don't have to use any special tool, we can just use the native tools for that. I'm going to put this, actually, you know what, I'm going to move this right, let's see, let's put that guy right there. Okay. Now you can see our beam pocket is obviously too deep for this particular beam. Let's go ahead and measure that, see where we're at. Okay, so we're 3 inches too deep. So what we want to do is edit our beam pocket, click here on the edit tool, and add 3 inches to that 108, which would put us at 111 inches. Hit update, and sorry I didn't show you that, and there we go. Now we have the right height of our beam pocket. Let's go ahead and do the same thing over here real quick. Okay, and there we go. Okay, Okay, so now let's go back here to these beams again, and let's play with them a little bit. First of all, you've got all different types. So let's edit this beam. And rather than that, we're going to go steel beam. And I don't have all the W sizes in, but I have a few in now. And I can add more as time goes on. I'm just going to go ahead and change that to a steel beam. Okay. And you can see that now you got the regular wide flange profile. And it's sitting right there on top of the that there top plate. Okay, now let's say that I want to project this beam past the wall. Well, actually, let's do it on this one. This one's a better example, I think. Let's project this beam past the wall. So instead of hitting the beam edit here, we're going to just right click and edit beam assembly. And we're going to change the length of that beam to 26 feet. And hit update. Oh, actually, we did the that's right. We started here, went that way. Okay, no big deal. and if you need to move, if you want to center this beam up, no big deal. Just move it. There's nothing saying you can't move a beam, so we move it over 12 inches. Okay, nice, and there we go. Okay, and now that we have the projector past the wall, that's kind of boring. Let's go ahead and let's add some cuts to it. Bevel that edge or that beam. So let's go ahead and edit beam assembly. For this, we need to turn on the advanced beam options, and right here you can see you got a start cut and an end cut. Let's do a miter cut on one end and a fire cut on the other. Let's change our start cut width to say 4 inches, and let's change our end cut for the fire cut to 6 inches. Okay, angle, yeah, that's fine. And hit go. Okay, and you can see now that this end's got a fire cut, as they call it, and this end has a miter cut. Okay, and so you can set different cuts on different ends of the beams, or have no cut at all. Whatever you want to do. Now, in certain situations, you may have a beam that terminates or connects to another beam, right? And so we have a whole series of hangers that you can install. So this is our end of our beam. Let's go ahead and edit that beam one more time. And you can see that, let's turn off the fire cut to none, first of all, just so we have to start with a new beam. And then let's select a hanger here to throw on this beam. Okay, so let's choose this HU612. Let's see what happens. Okay, so you can see that it automatically throws in the component, and this is all stored with the plugin. You have access to all of these, and there are low poly count versions that are dimensionally accurate of the various Simpson hangers. You can change this up to whatever you want. There's just a whole number in here, and these are all the Simpson part numbers, of course. And of course, some of these aren't the right sizes for this beam, so if you use them, they're not going to look right. So you obviously wouldn't use that HU412 with a 6-inch glue lamp. But you got also these interesting what I call post caps or column caps that you can employ. And if you were adding another beam going out, and there's a whole bunch of other ways you can do this. You've got this cross, they call it. So you can basically add in, do all kinds of interesting things with beams. So yeah, that allows you to add various hangers to beams. Let's go back here now to this one, and we're going to edit this one again and talk about the various types again. So let's go look at the structural composite lumber, SCL. We're going to go to LVL. Now, you'll note that when I update that to an LVL, of course that's a pretty small LVL, that text is pretty small. We're trying to fit it within the size of the beam. And in this case, a lot of times with LVLs, you want to do a 3-ply. Let's go a little bigger on that, or 2-ply. Let's go to a 3-ply, and hit update on that. Okay, and now you'll notice also that the label, increased in size, and we have a 3-ply LVL beam here. Alright, so if you have any other questions or comments about beams or columns, please contact me, but hopefully this was helpful in some way, and I welcome any feedback. Thank you.